Hello everyone, and welcome to the training on digital communication, part of Terra Madre Salone del Gusto 2020. We are very pleased to have you here, and we are pleased to hear from Jacopo Miceli, expert in media and storytelling, and Valentine Chevrier, who coordinates the communication for Slow Food in France. So just a couple of technical information before starting. If you want to hear in a different language than English, please go on the bottom right and select the languages. Specifically for Italian, you will have to select Korean. And I would like now to leave the floor to Jacopo and enjoy. And
thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so welcome to this session of Improve Your Skills. And today we talk about digital communication. And before starting, we thought to ask a question. Who are you? Let us know before we start. Valentine?
So we need the pool. Thank you. Please select one of the following categories so that we can know exactly who you are. And in a second, we will know exactly who we are talking to.
This is going to help us as well to kind of like shape a little bit this session, keeping in mind your needs in a way. And it also is going to help Slow Food to understand the audience of this talk. Okay.
So, wow, nice. So we have a lot of community leaders, 54% of community leaders and maybe 30% of activists. So we have food producers, cook, business owners, and food shop owners and others. Perfect. So mainly Convivia. So today we're going to talk a little bit about digital. Can you slide? I can't. Yeah, thanks. But first, we are going to present ourselves. So my name is Valentine. I'm a coordinator of Slow Food in France and Slow Food Youth Network France. for a few years now. I'm doing the communication, which means I'm doing social media and also doing website articles and blog with my dad. And we implement in 2020 the French newsletter for the audience and the members. I also founded Gaia Culinaries, which is digital marketing service company who is selling website and e-shop, and also advices on social media and email marketing campaigns. Jacopo?
And I'm Jacopo. I started working in video production in 2006, and I moved from TV commercial to feature films, and then also cross-platform storytelling in different projects and branded content. And more recently, I joined Slow Food International, and I supervise all the video production for Terra Madre. And I'm very happy to be here with Valentine. I also coordinate Convivia in Nice, France. So I have two roles here. So I'm happy to be here. Oh,
sorry. So we are going to talk about, so first Jacopo is going to introduce the subject. We are going to give you the 4 trends of 2020 in terms of digital. With the COVID and the pandemic, a lot has been going on with digital. We are going to define the different notion of digital to help you interact with your audience. So whether you are a food business owner or a convivium or a restaurant owner, it's going to be about digital marketing, website, and social medias. And finally, we are going to explore the importance of digital strategy with a good advice on how to set up a Google My Business account.
So why communicating? I decided to start with the golden cycle. This is a concept shared by many people, but specifically it's in a beautiful book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek, a British author living in US. And the concept is most companies start with what they do, and then they try to understand how they do what they do. But the most interesting journey is starting with why. So why do we do what we do? That should be the core of our business plan as a company or association, but also should be the core of our communication. People, audience tend to buy not what we do, but why we do what we do. So the correct journey should be why we do what we do, how we do what we want to do, and what we actually do. So in terms of communication, the core values should be part of this journey from why to what.
So about the why, we are going to start with the first trend, which is having a website. To start with this, having a website in terms of online presence. So it's an amazing time to be a business owner in the food and beverage industry, because consumer tends to become more and more interacting with your brands through your online presence. If you don't have a website, it's your time to have one. It's mandatory nowadays. If you already have a website, it's very nice. You should focus on verifying if you are responsive design, which means if you have a mobile-friendly version of your website. Nowadays, 30% of the population is watching information, looking for information online on their mobile. So make sure you are also thinking about this technique. The global health crisis that we've seen through the year, and it's unfortunately continuing, has changed consumer preferences in new and unexpected ways. Consumers are more and more interactive with food and beverage brands. because they want to improve their health, they want to improve their immune system. Also, they want to reduce their environmental impact, and they want to support their mood, because a lot of us has been emotional through this time of crisis. We have seen a lot of anxiety feelings with the social distancing, the lack of interaction with human people, and families and consumer wants to have all the information they need on the product they are going to buy. We have seen an important increase into locally grown produce search, grass-fed meats, non-GMOs produced, also hyper-local shops. People tend to buy more for local produce and local shop. So if you have a website that showcases your product, and if you have a website that is also well implemented locally, it's very interesting for you to interact with your audience. Trends number 2, the use of social media. I'm not going to talk about social media, how is it, which one to use, because it completely depends on your targeted audience. But know that for the food and beverage business owners and industry, Facebook is one of the most trendy and impactful social media, and also Instagram. So we are going to focus on that. Social media is the best place for reaching new and retaining old customer for food and beverage businesses. Also, we have seen this year video content grow massively. We are going to showcase an example later on this presentation. For instance, 70% of consumers have shared a brand video. It means that if you have a website, if you have social media, if you're sharing videos, you have 70% more chances to be reshared as a brand. Also, there's like 52% of consumers that claims watching a product video makes them more confident and guides their on their online purchasing decision, which means if you have a video about a product, like if you want to sell your bread in a bakery or in a pastry shop, showcase the recipe, showcase the production line in a short video on your social media. It will be more efficient for them to buy your product afterwards. And also 72% of businesses believe that video content has improved their conversion rates. So you can see that more than 70% of businesses have seen an increase in their purchasing sales, in their sales.
Interesting also how, sorry Valentine, how like even like a few seconds of like an advert or like a video content, like 15 seconds on like Instagram stories, for example, they really have an impact in how you build confidence on your brand or on your business. Because people start recognizing a style and what you do, and that is very really works.
And also as 3 arguments on how and why creating videos. A video can help you your brand or your product line to introduce your product to a new audience on social media, to gain a larger following. It also helps educating the audience on the use of your product, the production process or your brand values. And it helps you reinforce your brand identity through behind the scenes, through endorsements or storytelling that Jacopo is going to talk about afterwards. The trend number 3 is transparency. Transparency is one of the key aspects of communicating online. Transparency means you are sharing your true value, your mission, the mission of your brand. It means you showcase your authenticity. If you share your authenticity, if you're true to yourself, if you're true to your mission, you will gain more audience engagement. It's very important to gain audience engagement, because if you have engagement rates that are increasing, it's more impactful for your sales and for your brand awareness. It's completely what we call content marketing. It's adding value to your content and be transparent. It's the key element. For key figures, according to ADM Research, it's a research facility, 26% of global consumers look for the country of origin on food and drink labels, which means with the trends that we saw previously, people are looking for information and very detailed information. So you should share with total transparency your product line, your production, the ingredients, if you're selling food. It's your time to shine as Slow Food members, Slow Food activists, to share the value that we share with Slow Food. If you have a business in the food industry, it can benefit to your local or national consumer. So spread the word and think digital. So for the trends number 4, I'm gonna let Jacopo talk about good content.
Yeah, for the content, I divided in three major areas, which is the power of storytelling, authenticity, which Valentine spoke a little bit about, transparency at the point of view. Power of storytelling. Storytelling is incredibly powerful. We love stories. Is the way as individual and communities we recount our lives. And it also very powerful because it gives us opportunity to kind of like get in someone else's shoes. In what we do in communication, storytelling allows you to convey emotions. So a little bit like in a film, which we all love, in 60 minutes, basically we build certain, in a story, certain emotion. So what we do in content marketing, which is actually the name of it in our world of communication, content marketing aims to create value and content that kind of like build trust with the audience we engage. So rather than just sending adverts online, the idea is to create a more structured story of who you are and what you do, and above all, why you do it. So we love, especially for companies or association or businesses, to share their daily routine. So it's a good practice to share what they do. For example, a bread maker can share the preparation of the sourdough, for example, or some recipes. And this really allows you to cover like a huge audience and get passionate about what you do. So in this way, you also can, on a different level, you can be even more specific about who you're talking to. So you can choose to use a certain language on Instagram, for example, and a different language, slightly different, because of course you need to be consistent on Facebook and also on the website. So it would be nice to have kind of like a brand identity, which is the continuity in the image, so you are recognizable, but also choose different ways to speak to people, which comes to the point of view. With the point of view, you kind of like gives your perspective. So for example, on Instagram, you can create some content specifically for the 15 seconds format of the stories, for example, or you can create a reel, or just work with some pictures and great text. Remember that everything tells about who you are and why you do it. So even the way you commenting posts or you react to comment of other people it's still storytelling. So yeah, just keep all this in mind. And authenticity, as we said, is the true value of how you approach communication. So be honest. Sometimes it's very difficult to deal with tough comment, but you have to do it.
The haters.
The haters. That's probably the best thing, is to face the problem. Sometimes really a good outcome comes from those situations. So yeah.
In terms of good content, if I can add, the consistency you were talking about is the editorial line, which means you have this the consistency in terms of brand identity through your website, your blog, your newsletter, and your social media, which is very important, so that people can see a certain consistency in your values and in your content, whether it's for sharing videos or pictures. It should be completely true to your brand and identity and values. It's very important to respect your values and to share it with your with the ability you have. If you are a farmer, if you're a chef, you don't have a lot of time to share on social media, but when you can, when you receive, I don't know, when you receive food from a farmer and you want to cook it for your customer, just take one picture and explain what you're gonna do, how you engage with your customers. It's very quick, and it can be easily duplicated for each type of content. Let's do a poll question to continue our presentation. Yael? So first, we want to know how you consider yourself when it comes to digital presence. So could you all please check one box so that we know where you stand for, if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Also, all the questions are going to answer at the end of the presentation. We are going to have a time for you guys. Oh, nice. So you are 50% intermediate. So might be that everybody has a website, has social media, use it. Nice. And 20% of beginner. 2% say, what is that? Nice. Thank you very much, guys. So to continue on our presentation, we are going to define some key notions. Let's start with the basic, which is digital marketing. Digital marketing refers to all the marketing techniques used on digital media and channels. The term is probably set to disappear because marketing tends to become, by definition, digital. It means that 10 years ago, there was the digital department, the business department, the communication department, and the marketing department. Nowadays, it's one department. Even if it's a small-scale company, there's only one person doing marketing, business, and digital communication. So essentially, digital marketing covers marketing apps linked to the traditional internet. It can be mobile, it can be tablets, it can be website, it can be newsletter. The main area of digital marketing is the email marketing, which is when you do newsletter to your customers, you have a segmented newsletter. It can be to gain customers or to fidelize customer. The technique is going to be different in terms of content. You have content marketing included into the digital marketing notions. What type of content are you going to share for which platform? It's again linked to the golden circle that Jacopo talked about earlier. There's also the digital, the social marketing aspect, which is social media, of course, we just talked about it, and the mobile marketing included in the digital marketing. Specific content are going to be on mobile. It's going to be a different content than on websites because you don't see the same thing when you are watching, looking at a website on your mobile, and when you are looking at a website on a computer, the screen is smaller, so the content is different. For instance, if you have a gallery of pictures with a lot of text on a website in your computer, maybe in your mobile, you will have a version showing only one picture with the text because people tend to scroll down very easily and quick to have the content and to read information. So you should think about quick content on mobile that is different from website, because the trends nowadays is to have long content pages on your website. I'm not going to talk about search engine optimization because it's too technical for today. But think that when you build a website, you need to think about keywords that people are going to search online so that you will appear on the first top link when you search on Google, for instance. If you search for a baker, a local baker, if you have a good keywords implemented into your website, you will appear on the first page of Google search. All these notions represent the digital strategy according to your objectives and according to your targets. The second notion is what's the website and what's an eShop. So the difference is very easy. A website is not selling anything. It's just to showcase your business for B2B, so business to business, or B2C, business to consumer. Whereas an eShop is to help you sell your products with a delivery service at your home, or a pickup service, or a click and collect. In 2020, with the pandemic, we have seen, I don't know in your country, but I guess it's the same than in France, a growth into a click and collect eShop version, which is helping improving your sales and grow your local network, because customers, as we said earlier, wants to have more interaction with local shops, local food owners. So they created click and collect solution to uplift their sales, because most of the shops and most of the restaurants were closed due to the pandemic quarantine. Some key figures about it is like about 50% of small business in the US do not have a website. So there's a lot of potential. In France, for instance, I'm going to talk about the food restaurant owners. I have 80% of food restaurant owners that have not yet a website and that have already grown this year. On these 80% of food restaurant owners that are not online, 30% of them have shut down permanently. We can say it's in a way due to the fact that their physical restaurant have shut down, but also because they were not able to sell their menu online, that they also have not gained from the delivery services sales. So it's very important to know this. Users have cited that 24/7 availability as their #1 reason for shopping online, which means that if you have a shop, physical shop, you have opening hours, right? But if you have also an online shop, people want to buy your products, they can do it at any time. They can do it at midnight after putting their kids to sleep, or they can do it at lunch break. There's no opening hours and it works 24/7, so it increases your sales at any times. However, if you're looking to sell an online present or not, I think digital can be a powerful tool, whether it's a website or an eShop. to expand your market and to support almost every stage of your sales funnel. A simple website can help your food or beverage brand or community, convivium, to strengthen your organization identity, to educate your audience, to gain customer loyalty through user-generated content. It can help educate your audience on the use of your product. If it's a slow food convivia, it can help educate your audience on slow food values and missions, and also the actions that we are doing. So if you are a convivia and if you don't have a website yet, please do. It's very important. And many more arguments, I can say. Give a try, give website or eShop a try. If you're a shop owner, if you're a business owner, please try the eShop. If you're a community, a convivia, please have a website. It's very important to be visible online. Next up, it's one of the last notion we are going to talk. We are going to just showcase example of social media that works, so that you know a little bit about what we talk about. So we've took the example of Instagram account and Facebook account. So for this slide, is going to be on Instagram. Big Fernand is a restaurant owner in Paris. They have like 5 restaurants only about burgers and French fries with meat that is from France and French fries that are from Paris region. So the potatoes are from Paris region. Everything is grown locally. It's not organically labeled, but it's all natural without GMOs. The structure of their account and the content is very powerful because they use dark colors. They use the yellow mustard of the mustard product as their main color, and they use the dark black, which impact visual completely differently than a normal picture. They use a setup between typos with keywords on their good argumentation of what's their burgers advantage. And they use picture with zoom on the detailed product, on the melted cheese, which is attractive visually. Also, they do a lot of lives with videos content to add to the pictures that they post. They do the same on Facebook, but differently. They do the same on Facebook, but differently. They use the whole product. They don't showcase Zoom product, which means it's interesting to see the slight difference between Facebook and Instagram. But they reach thousands of people on Facebook, whereas on Instagram they have 35,000 followers. Remember, just maybe some of you know it, but Facebook acquired Instagram 2 years ago. So it's all starting to be connected together. So when you post something on Instagram, you can link your Facebook page account on your Instagram account. So when you post one thing on Instagram, it can be reposted already on Facebook, which gain time considerably.
Also for promoting posts, it's all integrated right now. So very often when you promote a post on Facebook, you also appear on Instagram, even if you don't have Instagram, actually. So that it's cover like as many people as possible. So just to let you know, it's all integrated. So even when you plan to invest some money to reach a broader audience, that's definitely a tool to keep in mind.
The only feature that is not yet available is the Messenger app, because Instagram Messenger app and Facebook Messenger app are different. So you have to answer your customer or your audience in 2 different apps, but it's going to be linked in 2021. Facebook announced it. So in the future, it's going to be linked. It would be also a gain of time. Time consuming is not going to be too much, because too much social media is going to be difficult for food business owners and for convivia to follow what's going on. The latest stories. The other example we took is Italy. Everybody knows it if you're a SFYN member. They don't have a proper digital marketing strategy because of what they are selling. Let me explain. They are selling thousands of different products, food products, from wine to bread to cheese, whatever, which makes it very hard to have a proper editorial line, a proper consistent content. For me, I saw their social media account, and I thought it was a little bit too much. There was a lot of information, but it works. Apparently it works also because it's a brand. So there's different Italy in the world. So it's also the brand awareness that works on top of the content. But for small business, it's completely different. You should have a consistent and coherent content. Jacopo?
This is an example I stole from Ashley Alexander stories on Instagram. But this is just to show you how you can use this format of 15 seconds to kind of like tell a story. And this is like she's teaching us like a recipe about baking bread, flatbreads actually. I'm really intrigued from the storytelling point of view how much you can do with this format. For example, for Terra Madre, we develop a format called, as you know, how it's made. And it's also like a great way to secure and protect, but also promote knowledge, which is disappearing. So I think it's an exciting moment to develop and to use those tools to convey your story and also your products, because you do both at the same time. So I'm really interested now to see how far you can push now in terms of using multiple platforms. So Instagram, there's some people going with food in TikTok as well, which is
we are too young for that. We are too old. It's too young.
No, I'm too old. Okay, but it's still like really interesting to see how you could reach the audience across the platform, and it's a different audience, but still interested in your content.
Also, if I may say something about the video, yeah. The video you show is very complicated to make for a first video, especially for food business owners that don't have time. But the format of 15 seconds is very interesting to check. There's a lot of feature on Instagram and on Facebook to create video content directly from the app without anything else. And you can do it without nothing, just your phone, and you film it and you stop the video whenever you want, and it just lasts 15 seconds. So it's gonna be easier than maybe made like this type of video, which is very long process video. They are bloggers, so they know exactly how to create video content, but don't panic when you see it. There's a lot of features on social media. Just search for anything, just look for trends, look for other brands, look for bloggers, and look for whatever you want on your topic to see what works, what doesn't work, and maybe create your own without forgetting your authenticity and your value, so that you have more engagement. Because if you copy and paste a type of video that is already shared by another brand or another blogger, it's not going to be very helpful for your brand. It may be not going to work. Finally, an action from your part. I'm going to ask you guys about Google My Business. the importance of having a Google My Business account set up properly is enormous. For a lot of you guys, we might not like Google, but it's one of the most impactful search engine, and everybody is looking for a local business or a local shop on Google Maps or on a search. So you have to go to Google My Business. You can search it now. It's easy. It takes 5 minutes to set up your account. If you already have it, it's good, but make sure that you don't use only the basic tools. Use it more, experiment it more about what it's featured on Google My Business. When you set up Google My Business account, they will send you an activated code in your address. 3 weeks later, you will need to activate your code, and you will have a verified account so that you can set up your menu if you're a restaurant. You can set up pictures, you can implement posts, you can implement the different types of products you're selling. You can showcase all of the features of your business and be searched more easily. Let's just check the numbers, guys. 74% of consumers worldwide have used Google My Business to find the address or the phone number of a local business. So 74% of the population use Google My Business. So make sure you are on Google My Business, because otherwise you won't be visible as much as if you don't have as much as if you have one. 56% of action of Google My Business listing or website visits. Make sure you have a website. You link your website URL to your Google My Business account. And when people look for local business, they will click on your website link. So you will have more traffic. You will gain more traffic to your physical shop, or if you have only an online store, you will gain more traffic on your eShop. Basically, the argument of Google My Business, and I will stop with this, is to improve your visibility through the local search engine optimization. It lets you connect with your new audience. It helps you understand your customers' behavior, because you have an analytic tool behind it, which is very powerful if you look for it. And it's also when a prospective customer search for your business on Google, the Google My Business account page will show you how you work, what's your working hours, if you're open, if you're closed, if you have pictures that you show to give a teasing of your product. It helps you grow your business, and I will stop with this. Make sure you implement a Google My Business account. And we are gonna let Yael let us know.
Thank you so much, Valentine and Jacopo. You've given us really some very concrete tools that can be used by our network of communities, of food producers, of restaurant owners, of cooks. And especially now with this pandemic, we understand that one of the only ways to be seen is to be online. So this is why we organized this training to really face this, because as we are all stuck in our homes and it's really hard to go out, it's really important that we all understand the importance and we have the ability and the basic skills to communicate about what we do as Slow Food Network online. And as we know, our network is very varied. We have producers, we have farmers, we have cooks, we have activists. And we really hope that those basic skills and basic tools that Valentine and Jacopo gave us today can be a way to support our network, to support our producers, our farmers, and our cooks in the network to be more digital. We know that it's sometimes like the first step to get there can be quite hard, but I guess that everyone can use them a bit in their own way. And what is most important is that we start to play with this tool, because since the pandemic, I think the world has changed, and it's not a change that will go back to normal. I think we will always go more and more digital. So it is fundamental that we all have some basic tools. And first of all, I would like to start with some questions that I had that might be also in the mind of some of the public. So many of us are familiar with Facebook, for example. Many of us have an account on Facebook, and so my question would be, why wouldn't I just stick to my Facebook account? If I was a farmer, for example, or a restaurant, wouldn't that be enough? So I'm posing this question to you.
Jacopo, do you want to answer?
I can, if you want. The answer is yes, you can stick with one channel. One of the...
I cannot hear you very well. I don't know if it's only me.
Yeah, me too.
Try now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
A little bit better.
So, of course, you can stick with only Facebook. One of the rules is don't go into any social media like Instagram unless you find and manage to find time to constantly create.
We hear you in waves, Jacopo. I don't know why.
It's waving in Italy.
Waving the video.
The sound.
The sound.
All right. So I can try to speak up a little bit. So yes, don't go into Instagram or other big like Instagram unless you're able to kind of like constantly post content, because otherwise it's gonna look like you're digitally dead, which is not a good thing. So the answer strictly is yes. If you don't have time, focus on one single platform. Maybe choose the platform where you already have interaction or an audience you generate talk to. So if you started on Facebook, stay with Facebook, and then maybe as things grow and you allow yourself a little bit more time, you can explore another platform, and then of course you can structure communication across the platforms. But the answer is, if you don't have time, it's better to do one thing really good than multiple platform badly.
Also, it completely depends on the targeted audience. If your targeted audience is mainly on Facebook, you should stay and stick on Facebook, but doesn't mean that you can't add videos on your blog, on your website to gather more traffic on your website. Doesn't mean that you can't share different types of content on Facebook. But the trend lately is to be multi-channels. So it means that you could be in different social media plus newsletter plus blog, but you should keep it simple and do it step by step. And as Jacopo said, if you can't do everything, just stick to one, but do it with quality content.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your answer. And now we have some questions from the public. So Michelangelo was asking before, is social media chosen only with respect to the target, or rather the content of the communication? So how do I strategize? Do I do it on the base of my audience, and what tool should I choose, on the base of my audience or on the base of the communication that I want to bring to the audience, basically?
And I would add a third thing. There's the audience targeted, the content, and also what are you selling? So what is your objective? What do you want to showcase? And with these three factors, you can set up a proper strategy. It's a communication strategy to know which platforms is gonna be working more efficiently for your brand. It completely depends on what you are selling, to whom. It's again about the golden circle: why, how, and what.
Thank you, Valentine. And then maybe I have another question from Nelleke. Maybe this one is for Jacopo. Let's hope that the sound is with us. So if a convivia or communities, they all have a website, how do they keep their brand identity? So the story that they're telling, how they can make that consistent?
So in terms visually, like the whole communication on the website or across the main platform?
I would say across the platforms.
So consistency means for videos or graphics, you mostly use the same fonts and you give yourself some rules. In the industry, you call the brand identity Bible. So you tend to have a book where you keep all the rules. On Terra Madre website, you have under the info some guidelines you can have a look. And those are the guidelines we've been using even for the videos to keep some basic rules. Which, for example, for video is using the landscape rather than portraits. What kind of quality, what kind of framing, and that, like Valentine on the mountains. So you choose some rules and you stick with those rules throughout your communication, and that basically builds trust and consistency. Which is the most valuable thing. So yeah, font is a big thing. Again, we can say a very famous quote: "Less is more." So don't do too much graphics or decoration. Sometimes the message is already there. And another thing is try to speak with people among your community and try to have an external point of view of what you do. Sometimes you do you do some daily routine that for you are completely normal and boring, and for someone outside your bubble, it's truly interesting. So maybe there's some more communication you can do on certain things that are very interesting and special for people outside. I noticed this in relation with like between farms and people, like audience that lives in city and kind of like really love countryside. They tend to look, myself as well, to look like pictures and videos with lots of interest, and then you go to farmers and they're like, yeah, I mean, that's my normal day, so nothing special. But that builds kind of like a story, and social media now and videos especially gives you the feeling to be very close. You're like a member of a family. So you're very close to the producer, you're very close to the seller, and so you can have a first look to what they do. That is great value for
Also, if I can add, if it's a convivia, we all have the same logos, we all have the same values, so it's starting from that, we know exactly where to go, but you can add your local specificity to the language and to the content.
You can also build for slow food in Nice in France. For example, we built a chart. So when we decide to do like an event, we decide like answering the why questions, like that, is this in line with our values? Yes, no, or if it's no, why? And so try to build some rules, even if it's just like a little bit like a game, but that would help you to understand if it's something that should be part of your communication or not.
Thank you. Maybe we can go with another last couple of questions because we're approaching the end. So maybe this for you, there is Nicola Fattibene, I think referring specifically to when you were mentioning the Google My Business. So he's asking, how about using tailor-made apps to keep in contact with customers, for example? And also I would connect it to a question that I had in mind, like if you're a farmer rather than a shop owner, what would be then the best way to sell your products if you don't have the time, to stay behind the screen because you're in the field? So what would be the best way to engage with the communities around you to sell the produce without having a physical shop, and maybe also without having an online shop?
So if you're using a tailor-made app, doesn't mean that you can't set up a Google My Business account, if it was the question. I didn't quite get the question about the tailor-made apps. Can you reframe it?
It's that's how it's written from Nicola. How
Okay.
about tailor-made apps to keep in contact with customers?
It doesn't. It can work. There's no problem with it if it's tailor-made. But I think the audience is gonna be different. Like WhatsApp Business. Okay. So it's not a tailor-made. It's a worldwide app. WhatsApp Business, it's nice to fidelize your customer. It's like helping your customer loyalty improve. But if you want to gain customer and if you want to feed new customer with information about your product or your convivia, it's also nice to think in terms of worldwide apps like social media or on your blog. So I mean, you can use WhatsApp with a small group, but it's not going to be impacting. It's more like working apps. We use WhatsApp groups, for instance, with Slow Food Convivia to work on specific logistic terms. But when it comes to completely showcasing videos, showcasing products and everything, I think tailor-made are not going to be the best apps, but you can use more social media for that. And it's not the same as Google My Account, Google Business. It's not the same. Google My Business is just to help you be visible on search engine, and social media will grow your traffic to redirect consumer to your website if you have one. It's just a connecting app to gain traffic to your website. The main goal of everything in digital marketing is to attract people to your website so that you have contact. You create contact with them, you interact with them, and you sell your product, because the final goal is also to sell your business.
Great. So maybe super last question. I want like the answer in one word, please. And then we will have to close. So some people are prolific and some post social media less frequently. I may post twice a day. What is a good number? So Jacopo, Valentine.
One word?
One word.
It's hard. There's no number. There's no number. Depends on the targets. It depends on the audience. If Great. Your audience it's mother, they are gonna be watching all day social media. If it's a young person, they are gonna be watching in the morning before going to class. Or if it's business people, they are gonna watch between lunchtime. So it depends when.
Wonderful, thank you. Jacopo, you have an opinion on it?
Yeah, it very much depends as well. Like once, like a few years ago, it was like one post per day was enough, or once like every 2 days was enough. But now with Facebook, it's a bit tricky, because if you don't promote the post, even if you have 10,000 people following your page, you don't reach all the 10,000 people. So that's a bit of challenge, I think. So it very depends on the number of people following your page and how much you can invest. But yeah, probably like right now, like a couple of posts per day would keep the engagement. And maybe if you diversify it, so maybe there's a picture and maybe a video, or you share sometimes some content that you feel it's related to you. For example, for convivia and communities, maybe there's news on a paper that is very relevant to what you do. And so it's good to share and maybe commenting what is happening currently.
To add to that, you just have to try what's working for your audience and on which social media you're posting. You all have the possibility to check the analytics of the account, which means you can see the engagement rates, the click rates, all the different types of rates, and you check when you post something, who is the post that is going to reach more followers in terms of engagement, because the main rate is engagement.
Thank you, Valentina and Jacopo, for this really useful session. It was great to have you here. And I would like to thank also the public who was really engaging and
the interpreters.
And the interpreters, absolutely. And I would all like to ask you, please, to answer the survey that you can find in the chat to give us our feedback, because we would like to go on in organizing other trainings in the framework of Terra Madre. So your feedback is really important. And a great thank you to all of you. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The future of our planet is decided at the table, in our daily food choices. What do we know about what we eat? How do we choose? Where do we buy it? You can make a difference and contribute to a future where everyone has access to food that is good. Eating must be a pleasure for everyone. We all have a right to food that is healthy, natural, fresh, and seasonal. Clean. Being aware helps us to choose food that is good for our health and the health of our planet. Fair. Knowing our food means making choices that are fair to us, to the producers, and to future generations. Slow Food has been working for over 30 years to defend biodiversity and fight the climate crisis by promoting good, clean, and fair food for all. Support Slow Food. Let's act together for the common good. Go to donate.slowfood.com/en and follow us at terramadreselunadelgusta.com.